Welcome. In this tutorial, which is going to be the last for this particular project, photography project, we're going to format the actual navigation links, which is the home, blog, and press, and we're going to make them just a little bit fancy by putting little bullets on there with specific PNG graphic files that will change when you bring your mouse over it. Again, please let me emphasize, I do not like the home, blog, and press the way it is. I feel that it really should be a capitalized. So I'm going to just change it in this video because it's annoying me. May or may not be annoying you, but however, let's just change it here. We're going to make this a capital B. And there actually is a way to do that through CSS. However, we shouldn't do it through CSS if we don't have to. Okay, so now we have it in capitalized, and I think it looks a little bit nicer. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to locate and select the nav PA compound selector, which is in the actual designer panel. An easy way to do it is just click on it here and go to current. And however, it's not giving us, it's giving us the Hoover. The difference between this, the nav PA, and the nav PA, a colon, and a Hoover, that means this applies when the mouse is physically over the link. This applies in general. So we're going to click on this here. And I'm looking at number 2, and it's explaining to you that it says what a compound selector is, or dictionary selector, and basically it applies to the A tags, and it's used with a colon for a specific state over here. So you can review that. It's not as challenging, again, as it says, and I say that to you all the time. It's not as challenging because I don't want you to be intimidated by this over here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the text decoration like we did before. And I'm going to click on the text. And I'm going to find text decoration and choose that to none. Now notice that it takes care of all of them. So we're good there. And then we're going to turn to page 38. And it wants us to use a background image. So if you take a look at the top of 38 and number 3, you'll see that you have circles all over the place. That's because of the repeat. So let's go over here, and we're going to find the background. And we're going to find the background URL. This is the image. It would be nice if it said background image with all this stuff over here. This just basically means where is the file located. So we're going to click over here, and we have 2 options, I close and I open. So if you take a look at it over here, we want the actual I open, which is right here. Click on OK. Notice you have all this stuff, and it kind of makes it rather useless. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the background position, the horizontal one, to make it all the way right. So this, again, is kind of confusing to do the very first time, but once you do it, you'll understand it, hopefully. If not, just go back and redo it. So let's find where the background position is, which is here. And notice it has 2. And it doesn't tell you X, and it doesn't tell you Y. It says background position. So what we're going to do over here is telling us to click on the % over here. Once we click on it, we have different options. Besides the %, we're going to go to the left, to the right, or to the center. Here, it wants us to choose right. So let's choose right. And we also need to choose the background none. So we need to find the background repeat, which is here. Okay, now you see everything is pushed to the right. However, and let me just show you what left would be. This is where it's repeating all the time. This is repeating on the bottom. This is repeating over here, and this is no repeat. So that takes care of that in here. And let's move on to the next page over here. So what we want to do is, in this particular one, we want to find the actual closed eye one over here. So then we bring the mouse over, it's in here. And we're also going to move the actual text over because it's already pushed over here. So I just happen to be on the wrong page, so please forgive me over here. I'm going to go to click on number 6 is the percent, and we're going to change that to center, which centers it vertically, not horizontally. So let's go back to the background position, and let's click on this here, and let's click on center. Okay, that takes care of that over here. Number 7 over here, we've done the layout position. Okay, highlight the right padding and type 40. So what that means is we want to put space between the end of the content box and the actual text itself. The padding does not affect the background image. So we need to go to the layout, and we're going to find padding. So this is margin, and here's our padding. So we'll go down a bit. Okay, here's our padding, and we want to put in right padding. This is top, bottom, of course, right and left. So we're going to click in here, and we're going to type in 40, which means we want 40 px. And notice how that moves over. Now, again, you may have to change it depending upon what site you're setting up to 40, 50, or you could put the bullets on the left. It's totally up to you. That takes care of that. Now what we want to do is we want to change the nav P Hoover. We want it to be a different bullet when we go over that. So we're just going to click on the nav Hoover over here. We're going to find the background. We're going to find the background image. And we're going to choose eye closed. And that should take care of that. So let's go into our live view. And I'm going to save it first. Let's go into our live view, and let's see what happens when we go over here. All right, so we have an issue here. And the issue is because we set the background image over here, the nav P, to have padding, but we didn't set this one. Now, here's something that you can try. Let's move this up. If it lets you, which it's not, let's go to all and move it that way. And we're in live. So what we need to do is move this up. And that did not work. So what we need to do is change the padding over here as well. And so you can see this is what's overriding it. And here's a perfect example of what happens when something's not overridden. Okay, so we have an error here. And let's move this here. And I think the issue is I never hit the enter key. Okay. So there you go. So that was an unintentional error, but usually I don't edit out my unintentional errors because when things don't work properly for you, I want to give you an opportunity to look at what I do to see if I missed a step, I forgot to hit the enter key, I undid something, whatever it is. Here's an opportunity for you to see the trouble steps. So the first thing I did was look to see if the actual rule was being overridden by something else, which it was not. Then I checked to see if the one tag was correct, which it was not. So I changed it. However, it didn't affect the other tag. So now let's go here and delete the Hoover one, and let's see what happens. Let's get rid of this, make it 40, and change it to 0, and see what that does. So we're going to move it over. Now notice, boom, because we have an actual 0 in there, what it's seeing that, hey, I don't care what the other tag says. We're changing this to 0. So let's go back over here and put our 40 in here. And that should take care of it. Now we're going to export to site. Always save everything. So again, I will be making mistakes from time to time on purpose, and then go back and correcting them. And then, because even though I work through the book, I'm looking at the book, I'm going back and forth, I'm talking, I'm doing things like that. And I actually don't even have the book right in front of me. I have it to the side. So there's going to be times that I'm going to skip a step, or I'm going to do A when it says to do B. And then here's an opportunity for you to see exactly what I do to correct them, the things that I know may or may not be affecting what's there. Again, as you get more comfortable with it, you'll find the trouble steps are really pretty cut and dry, and you're just looking at certain things in here. And again, we'll try to find some more things that I can do to troubleshoot. So the next thing I want to do is save the site. We're going to export it, and I'll explain the purpose of that in a minute. So we're hiding this over here. Now there isn't anything that says export, but this is export. So we're going to click on here. Make sure that you're in your actual site that you want to be, which I'm not. So I'm going to go in here, and this is where I have my stuff saved. So I'm going to save it right here, and I'm done. Now if I go into files, it should now show in files. So here's my files, and you can see this is what I just did. So the advantage of that is if you delete your site or something happens, you can go back and recreate it. Very simple, by just going to Site, Manage Sites, then Import the site, and then you can import it to wherever you want, and you can see it right here. Anything that ends in a .ste is the site. If you're working on a computer locally and you create something, then you can export it and import it on another site, and then your site is actually set up, because these are stored locally. Okay, that's everything for this video, this chapter. Please, again, let me know if you have any questions whatsoever, and see you next time.